What's up guys, CJ here again with another video. I'm going to review some parts that I bought. This is be the part 2, but before I do that I want to explain and take a moment to explain a few things about why I'm building this car and pretty much some advice for you guys maybe looking at getting an Evo in the near future. First and foremost, if you are not going to love this car for what it is in stock form, I don't recommend you get one. So what I mean by that is, if you aren't going to be happy with how it comes from the factory, I don't recommend you get one at all, because you're going to eventually get tired of it, and there's never enough power. So you'll notice that when you modify something and you finally achieve your goals with that, you tend to get bored with it. So if this isn't something that you're going to love for what it is, I don't recommend you get one. I see it all the time. This is probably the cheapest all-wheel drive platform to make power on. Now we can sit here, we can compare, R35 GTRs and all that stuff. You're gonna be spending a lot of money. But if you really think about it, the 4G63 in all-wheel drive is probably the cheapest form of making power. Now as far as drivability and all that stuff, that's a whole different conversation. But this car, I've noticed, kind of gets a bad rep because a lot of people buy them to try to flex on people, for pretty much for clout and to hype, and to pretty much say, hey, I got a 800, 900 horsepower Evo, and then the car breaks and then they get mad at the car. And I never understood that. If you don't love this car for what it is, you're wasting your time essentially. So advice for you guys is to go ahead and buy the car that makes you happy in its stock form. Otherwise you won't be happy. All right, so as far as the channel and where I'm planning on going with this, I'm doing this for basically to do a library of my build. And I actually used to own an Evo 5. I know you guys keep hearing that in the channel, but I don't have much to remember it by. I spent all this money finding this car, and I did a Evo 6 swap, and I spent thousands of dollars on that car. And I honestly don't have many pictures or videos or anything on it. So I wanted to make this channel for passion and for a library. Now I say passion because I've been noticing a lot of guys are getting into this car scene and buying these cars to just get attention and for all this stuff, and I don't get that stuff. That's one of the reasons why you guys will probably never see my face on any of these videos, because I want it to be all about the cars. I'm not naive into thinking that, by holding the camera in front of myself, you guys are here to watch my videos because of me. You're here to watch the videos because of the car. So just basically wanted to get that out of my chest. But yeah, let's get to the parts. And I'm going to try to keep this short. This is actually the second video I shot. I wasn't too happy with the first one. But let's get to it, guys. So we'll start off with the fueling components. I have the Bulletproof Racing billet aluminum double pumper. Now this is a very, very frustrating experience. Not because of them, these guys are great, but just finding the right double pumper. So as you already know, the goal for this Evo is 600 horsepower, 650, somewhere around that. I chose that specific number because I noticed that with these cars, if you tend to go anything above that, you're pretty much gonna kill the Evo-ness out of it, for lack of a better term. So 650 is a goal. As you can see, this is a double pumper. I went with the 255 Walbros. I don't think I need anything more than that. They offer these things in 450 and 525. So if you're looking to make some big power, then these guys can definitely supply you with what you need. And as you can see, this piece is beautiful. One of the things that I noticed about buying a double pumper is you tend to see a lot of janky, like zip ties and all kinds of stuff. And I get it, because this is not a part that's made from the manufacturer. So essentially it's an aftermarket made piece. But these guys knocked it out of the park. You could tell it's beautiful. Not that billet aluminum is required, because this is going inside the tank, so you won't be seeing any of this stuff, but it's still pretty good to see, good quality products. And that's what I plan on doing with this build, is I want to I don't want to cut any corners. I want to make sure that I go ahead and, you know, I build it right. So this is an extra part. This is the relay box, I believe is what they called it. So essentially this thing, from the way they explained it to me, and the guy's name is Alex, the guy who owns this shop, but he explained it to me that this relay box is essentially there. So the second fuel pump kicks in once you hit a certain boost. And I was skeptical at first because I didn't really hear about these guys much. But shortly after, actually the shop that's going to build my Evo, they actually did a video, or no, it was a picture that they posted, and they said that this kit was great. So I was happy to hear that shortly after. But yeah, guys, this is the bulletproof double pumper. This stuff isn't cheap, by the way. I try to give you guys prices so you guys can kind of see if it's something that you'd be interested in. But this was roughly about 900 bucks, and I caught them on Black Friday, so ended up getting it for around 700, something like that. So just wait, and you can catch it on the right deals and stuff like that. All right, guys, let's move on to the injectors. As you can see, these are the FIC Fuel Injector Clinic, and I went with the 1650cc injectors. I chose these over the 2150s because my shop actually recommended them. They said for stock ECU, these are easier to tune. And they're actually more expensive. They also stated that these things are specifically designed for E85, so that's why you'll notice that they're actually a little bit more pricey. That's the way it was explained to me. They're tuning it, they're building the car, so I'm not going to second guess what they say, but I did a little bit of research, and they were, from what I saw at least, they were correct on that. So not too much to really say about that. For injectors, make sure you do your research and try not to buy them used. That's one recommendation that I'll always make. Because well, I guess if you are going to buy them used, I would recommend to at least get them flow tested, make sure get them cleaned. But you do not want to put bad injectors in your car, so make sure to definitely, if you're not going to buy them used, get them tested and get them cleaned. We'll move on to the fuel pressure regulator. As you can see, I went with the AEM. This is actually a MAP MA Performance kit. It comes with all this stuff, as you can see. Got the AEM fuel rail. I already have an AEM fuel rail, but I wanted to go ahead and swap out all my fuel components just because I just don't want any fueling issues. So I think it's a good habit to kind of do that when you're redoing your setup. It's already installed in the car, but yeah, I'm gonna be swapping that stuff out. And then it comes with the Turbo Smart gauge, and this is a whole kit, guys. So MA Performance, and that's the kit right there. And it'll give you choices as far as what kind of lines and stuff. But from the little bit of research that I did, it's actually easier to use OEM lines rather than braided steel and all that stuff. From what I saw, these are easier to actually install. So yeah, this is a whole kit. This kit is roughly about 300 bucks. The injectors, I don't think I mentioned, they go for about 800 bucks. So right here, as you can see, this right here is easily $2,000. So this stuff adds up really quickly, guys. We'll move on to this gauge that I plan on installing. This is a 4-in-1 gauge from Innovate Motorsports, and this is the Ethanol Advanced ECB1. So this is a 4-in-1 which has fuel temperature, ethanol content, it has air fuel ratio, and then it has boost. So essentially, I don't really need any more gauges after this, other than maybe an oil pressure gauge. This is a 52 millimeter gauge, and I have the pod here, which I plan on running on the steering wheel. As you can see, I've actually had this for a very long time. But I'm actually kind of torn right now because I want to keep my stock gauges, but I really can't. Reason for that is I won't need them anymore, obviously, and with this one, this will alleviate a bunch of them. But the boost gauge, I won't be using anymore because this only goes up to 30 psi. Plus, that one already has a boost gauge, and if I'm going to swap that one out, I might as well swap all the other ones out. I like for them to match. These match really well with the cluster that I have.
This is the eBay cluster, the Trust cluster. For those OGs, you know what this is. And it's been on the car for 10 plus years, and I've never had any issues. So if you have any suggestions for gauges, I'm in the market. I was looking at the Pro Sport ones, but they kind of look tacky, and that's not really my style. So I prefer for them to be analog gauges, 60 millimeter if possible, and they must be in white. So if you have any suggestions or anything like that, please let me know, because I am still in the market for some gauges, or I might just do a doubled in and say screw all the gauges. I already have that one. We'll move on to the clutch. As you can see, this is an Exedy clutch. This is a twin disc. Now, this was another interesting purchase because I was not on board with the whole Exedy thing. I don't follow crowds, so I'm not a trendy person at all by any means. So if people usually kind of hype something, I tend to automatically go the opposite way. But when it comes to clutches, from the research and the discussing that I did to include the guys that built my transmission at RRT, they all recommended this clutch. This is a twin disc, and this is the actual code for the clutch in case you're interested. This is rated for 625 foot-pounds of torque. I don't really plan on making that much. Evos aren't known to make that much torque. They're not known as torque monsters, so for 650 horsepower, I'm probably looking at maybe 500 foot-pounds of torque. So this is the clutch that I went with. This is roughly, you can find them anywhere from $1,200 to $1,400. But hopefully this is a good feeling clutch. Right now in the car is the ACT HDSS. It's been on the car for almost 10 years and I've never had any issues with it, to include launches at the track. This car hasn't been tracked that much, but yeah, it's been holding great. I have no issues with the ACT clutch. It feels stock to me. So hopefully this feels pretty close, because that was another thing I was concerned about, because the clutch in the Golf R is not at all, it's very stiff, and it's just a stage 2 clutch in there. In the Golf, it's a, what's the name of that brand? I almost forgot. I'll get back to you guys on that. I've been so into the Evo that I've been kind of neglecting this Golf, so stand by for more content on that thing. We'll move on to other components. This is stuff that I wasn't too excited about buying. So as you already know, this is an MR that I have, the Evo, and these are components that you need in order to do a 5-speed swap. So I have the shifter cables here, which these are actually discontinued, so you have to buy them used. I got the shifter base here, but I can't use this. This is cracked, so I might as well just throw this away. The guy threw it in for free. I was hoping I could maybe salvage it, but I don't want to be cheap and stuff with this build. So this is why I don't like buying used stuff, guys, at all. And the guy provided me with the 5-speed harness, which you will need, and the motor mount, or the transmission mount, I should say. But I already have Torque Solution ones, so yeah, I don't know what I'll do with this. I'll probably just hold on to it, see how I like it. If I heard some kind of mixed things about the Torque Solution mounts. They say that it makes the car feel like undrivable. So we'll see what we do with that. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and take you guys inside, and I will show you the transmission and what I chose as far as options and all that stuff. All right, guys, here it is. I'm not gonna go ahead and unbox this. I actually already showed you guys another video. I didn't take it out, but it's in here. It's got oil and stuff all over it, so I don't want to. What I didn't do last time is I didn't show you guys the list of things that this transmission came with, and this is by far the most expensive thing I've purchased for this build so far. And I have a list of things. As you can see, this is a 5-speed. This was done by RRT, and they're up in Connecticut. And there's a list of stuff, as you can see. And then as you can see right there, the 411 final drive. That was an additional $800 option. And there it is, guys. Stuff is not cheap. So it was so expensive because I'm doing a swap.
I didn't provide them with a core just because I didn't have one. So they found me a core, and that's why that was so expensive. Usually if you were able to supply them with a good core, it'd only be like $2,000, anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000. But yep, there it is, guys. So that'll wrap it up. I'll go ahead and bring you guys back to the garage and finish it up. So I just realized after cleaning up that I never gave you guys a reason as to why I'm doing this build. So I'm basically doing this build because it's just time for something new. I've loved this car in every form that it's been, but it's just time for something new. You know, you kind of tend to do that so you don't get tired of things or people. But yeah, it's always a good idea to, you know, switch it up and do something different. So the goal is to run 10s. I don't want too fast of a car because I don't want to kill the drivability completely. But yeah, guys, that's basically it. Thanks for watching my videos. Thanks for the support. I will be actually heading out for some training for about a month and a half or so, so you guys won't be hearing from me for a little bit. But once I get back, should be almost ready for this car to go under the knife and to get things started with this build, installing some parts, and getting to show you guys some results. So thank you for sticking around. Happy New Year, and have a good one. Peace.